Okay, good. Now for this last panel, I'm going to invite on the stage our exclusive platinum sponsor, Lima Consulting Group, to talk about digital transformation. So please welcome on the stage Mr. Rafael Vogel, partner of Lima Consulting Group, and their guest, Gabriela Monteiro, Chief Digital Officer of Sanofi. Please come on the stage and join us. Thank you. So I got 2 mics, one for you and one for you. Okay, thank you. And please, join me here. Please. The video? Oh, I got the controller for you.
O nosso relatório de vendas.
Que isso?
Isso é o analítico de redes sociais e o buscador daquela ferramenta grátis que a gente usa.
Isso aí é um boi?
Não, não, chefe. Isso aqui é métrica percentual de novas visitas e busca orgânica.
É que tá parecendo que aqueles carinhas estão matando esse boi. Vem cá, será que não foi teu filho que desenhou aí em cima, não?
Okay, shifting gears here.
Yeah.
We prepared ourselves. The best way to present digital transformation is by using it itself. So I'm honored here to present Gabriela Monteiro. She's the Digital Acceleration Director. What a cool position, isn't it? And for Sanofi, which is a pharmaceutical company, which is not very into innovation due to regulations and a lot of stuff. And recently, she also added to her position the Data Privacy Officer, which is pretty cool, doing DPR and Lei de Proteção de Dados, which are pretty interesting. So, Gabriela, you came from Amazon, a totally digital company, to the pharmaceutical industry. How did you arrive to this industry?
Well, let me just say something before. Sanofi actually has it actually stands out in terms of innovation because it invests almost 6 billion euros in innovation every year. So in 2017, that was the amount invested in innovation. So it stands out when you compare it to the pharmaceutical market. But not only that, healthcare industry called my attention because I started deep diving on healthcare industry, and I found out that 55% of all new technologies are being developed to improve healthcare. So I was like, I cannot lose that. I mean, that is something that is going to happen. So I need to be there. And then another factor was Pius. Pius is the president of Sanofi Brazil, and he's a visionary. And I remember the first day that I met him, I was in a job interview with him, and he was like, I will not go back. And I'm like, that's the kind of attitude. I want that. So that's how I actually started working for Sanofi. And I'm really proud of the job that we're doing there these days because besides, it's a pharmaceutical company, it's a regulated environment, but we have been able to accomplish with the autonomy that we are given there a lot in just 1 year. So it's been 1 year that I'm there, and it's been amazing what we've done at this point.
Awesome. Nitroglycerin, isn't it? The vision of your CEO, your skills in digital. And we met this March during a layover between flights. And thanks to a very good friend who introduced us, 2 months later, we had a contract, our digital acceleration contract. And in 6 months from now, from the beginning phase of our digital transformation, what kind of sneak peek can you share with us?
Well, in the beginning, I can tell you it was not something easy to shift the mentality. I would say when I arrived at Sanofi, I made a lot of enemies. First thing, because I actually came from an American culture, a very pragmatic culture, and I went to a very French diplomatic environment. It's very diplomatic at this point. So I was really used to making decisions by my own, especially when you were at Amazon. And before Amazon, I had my own startup, and actually I sold it. So went to Amazon as an entrepreneurship And it is an environment that actually helps you and, how do you say this, innovate and make all the entrepreneurship that you want, but in a huge company. And what I can tell you is that in this whole year, what we've been able to accomplish is, first, we started, structuring the area. We started, I remember the first months that we were there, Felipe and I. Felipe is the friend that actually introduced us. And we were just planning and planning and planning on the structure that we would implement for the digital acceleration area, planning on the partners in crime that we actually became. And I can tell you that there is no way you can make digital transformation if you don't have the right partners like Lima has been to us. You actually seated there. You were deep diving on our problems. You were, as Sanofi employee, developing the solution that became, one of the tipping points, I would say, from Sanofi, that it's a company that is used to, just so you can, I don't know, for me it's something crazy because within Amazon, for example, I would know how my promotions were going at the same, at the same time. So in 1 hour, I would understand if that kind of promotion was going right or wrong, and we could change. But in Sanofi, from a pharmaceutical perspective, not only Sanofi, but all pharmaceutical companies, they only get the sales figures like a couple of months later when you have the close-up, research. And then nowadays, the kind of partnership that we've developed, where we have the innovation product team working with Lima Consulting, and we now have been able to have actually the sales figures, and at least in the e-commerce area, which is not a huge amount of value at this, volume at this point, but it is becoming bigger and bigger every year. So nowadays we can have real-time data of our sales and have a much better approach on our shoppers and how, giving them relevant promotions, and it's a really, really good tool to have at this point.
Awesome. I can tell you, on top of our 8 years experience in Brazil with more than 400 deploys in analytics and helping the leaders in Brazil to lead their digital transformation practices, you guys rocked in those 6 months.
You too.
Even under the radar and flying above, but you guys rock. Of course, digital transformation is not as simple as just 6 months. It's a long roadmap, and it's a multi-year journey. Okay, but what I can show to you guys is that in just 6 months, even a complex industry like pharma could leverage from it. It's not just a shallow thing, like just the cool word from the market. You can leverage from digital transformation, but it takes a while, and there is a long road ahead. What's your vision for the near future?
I guess you're right, and I love this quote that he just mentioned, that you have to fly under the radar, is from a VP of Hyper Island. And he was talking to me one day, and he is like, Gabriela, I've met a lot of people who is in your role, and they just couldn't succeed. So the ones that did, they flew under the radar. And I'm like, oh, that's my mantra now. So we're really entrepreneurs in my team, so we don't really care being in the spotlight. We just want to execute and have the results. So this is pretty much how we are acting inside Sanofi. But in the beginning, they just didn't really believe us because they're so used to having ROI. ROI. What's the ROI? And they not used yet to the value culture. So in 3 months, when we actually show them that we have pretty much 30% of all pharma e-retailer, unique visitors there, we have the kind of data that we shift from, investing on their media, but then now we're investing on media that is actually advantageous to us, and we have the data from the shopper, and we can decide better on how to invest. That became the the diamond for them. So, and it's of course, it is the diamond. Because when you already know that kind of situation, when you know what data can actually give to you, you just want to have it, you know, you don't want to do reports every day, you just want to don't want to look to the past, you want to look forward. And then data can give that to you. So I think that the major shift is that we're now, we could at least, you know, put the virus of data in our executives. And I know it's not, it's the way that, it's a point of no return. You just cannot. When you live with data, you just cannot live without it. That's it.
Yeah. We are talking here data a lot. Data transformation, data. And of course, we talk here sensitive information. We are talking health. We are not talking selling X and Y. We're talking health. But can you share some numbers, something that you can just put it in figure, what we are talking about?
Yeah, we in 3 months we were able to. It's all anonymized, and it's not a coincidence that I'm also data privacy officer. It's my responsibility to be sure that we are compliant with GDPR and also the Brazilian law. But in 3 months, we have been able to map the behavior of 5 million shoppers. We reached 30% of every e-commerce on e-retailer, pharma e-retailer, you know, Onofre, Soares, Venancio, please correct me if I'm wrong. But by the end of Q2 next year, we intend to reach 80% of all the shoppers' behaviors in the retailers for pharma. So that's pretty much revenues. Also, we have a target, you know, money target, because you cannot talk about money without, you know, you cannot invest without talking about money. So we have money target now. We have to e-commerce, which represents a little bit of our sales now. We have target to increase e-commerce by a lot. I cannot take the number, but it's like 30% of what we sell now. So 30% plus of what we sell now in 1 year. So
awesome. I made her do some numbers for us just to figure out just 6 months working, and it's a really honor for Lima to be partner
it's an honor for us too.
And thanks a lot.
Thank you.
And I hope we partner not only in Brazil but also globally.
You will. You're in the best way to be there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.